The Simpsons were on TV. Pancakes were on plates. It was a Tuesday, just like any other, for the Millers of Merritt Island, Florida. John Miller, a hard-working airboat mechanic, was getting ready for work. Mary, a schoolteacher with the patience of a saint, was braiding little Emily's hair for school. Life wasn't always glamorous, but it was theirs, comfortable and familiar. Then, a sound like no other. A deafening boom, a house shuddering on its foundation, and the terrified screams of his girls sent John's heart into his throat. Was it an earthquake? A gas explosion? Nothing could have prepared him for what he saw next. A gaping hole in his roof, debris scattered across the living room, and a strange charred object in the middle of it all. "What in the world?" John muttered, his voice trembling. It was like something out of a movie, a scene from War of the Worlds maybe, except this was their life, their home. The dust settled, revealing the full extent of the damage. They were lucky to be alive. News traveled fast. Soon the Millers' quiet street was swarming with flashing lights and bewildered neighbors. Reporters camped out on their lawn, eager for a soundbite, a photo, anything for the 6 o'clock news. But amidst the chaos, one question remained. What in the blue Florida sky had happened? The answer, as it turned out, wasn't from this world, literally. Experts confirmed the culprit, a piece of space debris, a stray fragment from a decommissioned satellite, had fallen from orbit and chosen the Millers' roof as its final resting place. It was a freak accident, a 1 in a billion chance, but for the Millers, the odds didn't matter. Their lives had been turned upside down. The space junk, as the news dubbed it, was now evidence, a chilling reminder of how something so far away could have such a direct impact on their lives. The insurance company? Well, let's just say they'd never received a claim like this before. Act of God, they called it, refusing to cover the damages. But John and Mary knew better. This wasn't an act of God. This was an act of, well, NASA. The initial shock gave way to anger. Why them? Why was nobody taking responsibility for this? The roof needed fixing, Emily needed therapy for the trauma, and John was losing workdays dealing with the mess. It wasn't fair. They deserved answers. They deserved help. They deserved compensation. It was Mary, normally the quiet one, who first voiced the thought that had been brewing in both their minds. "We need to sue them, John. We need to sue NASA." John, a man of simple means and even simpler desires, had never sued anyone in his life. But as he looked around at his family, at their damaged home, he knew Mary was right. They found a lawyer, a sharp young woman named Sarah Jenkins, who was hungry for a challenge and believed in their case. The news loved it. "Little guys take on space agency," blared the headlines. But for the Millers, it wasn't about fame or fortune. It was about justice, about holding someone accountable for the chaos that had rained down on them from the stars. Section 4. David versus Goliath, the lawsuit. The courtroom was packed. Cameras flashed, capturing the image of the Miller family. Ordinary folks in extraordinary circumstances, facing off against a team of NASA's high-priced lawyers. The world was watching, some with sympathy, others with skepticism. Could this family really win against a government agency, against the giants of space exploration? Sarah Jenkins, all fire and brimstone, argued that NASA's negligence in monitoring and mitigating space debris was directly responsible for the Millers' misfortune. NASA's lawyers countered, citing the inherent risks of space travel, the impossibility of tracking every piece of debris, and the lack of precedent for such a case. The judge, a stern woman with eyes that could cut steel, listened intently. The weight of the decision was immense. This wasn't just about a damaged roof in Florida. It was about the future of space exploration, about who was responsible for the debris we leave behind in our quest to explore the universe. Section 5. Space junk, a growing problem. As the trial progressed, the world listened. Experts were brought in, their testimonies painting a sobering picture of the growing problem of space debris. Thousands of defunct satellites, spent rocket stages, and fragments from collisions orbited the Earth, invisible to the naked eye yet posing a very real threat. "It's like a cosmic junkyard up there," one expert testified, "and it's only getting more crowded." The potential consequences were dire collisions could trigger a domino effect, creating more debris, threatening active satellites, even jeopardizing future space missions. The Miller case, though focused on the personal tragedy of one family, had brought this often overlooked issue to the forefront of public consciousness. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that our pursuit of the stars had consequences here on Earth. Section 6. Looking up, looking ahead. The jury deliberated for weeks. The tension was palpable, the anticipation thick enough to cut with a knife. The world held its breath, waiting for the verdict. Guilty or not guilty, the future of space exploration and the responsibility for its consequences hung in the balance. The verdict, when it finally came, was